I never imagined I'd ever tell this story. If someone had told me a year ago that the woman I loved would one night brag about how she kept me in line, I would have called them insane. But life has a way of stripping away illusions. The night everything changed was ordinary on the surface, until it wasn't. It was the night I finally saw Clara clearly, and the night I told her to leave. I came home that evening bone-tired, picturing a quiet dinner and maybe a mindless film. Clara was already there, a glass of wine in hand, looking oddly pleased with herself. She had friends over. I joined them in the living room for a while, thinking it would be normal company. Then one of her friends, teasing and relaxed, said something like, "Lucky you, he does literally anything for you." Clara didn't laugh it off the way most people would. Instead, she leaned back, a smug look spreading over her face, and said, "Yeah, I make sure he does what I want. I control him with intimacy." Everyone laughed. I didn't. At first, I tried to shrug it off as a silly, provocative joke. But the way she said it, the pride behind it, was unmistakable. It landed in me like a stone. For years, I'd given myself to that relationship. Long hours at work to support us, planning surprises, taking on the little things to keep the peace. I thought it was love. Hearing her say that she'd been using closeness as leverage made those gestures feel hollow, like currency she used to buy obedience. I kept quiet while the evening wrapped up, putting on a smile as her guests left. When the door clicked shut, the house felt different, charged and brittle. Clara poured herself another drink, humming as if nothing had happened. I watched her for a moment, feeling heat rise in my chest. Then I asked, steady but numb, "Is that really how you see me?" She blinked, then dismissed it with a light laugh. "Come on, don't be dramatic. I was just joking." Her face told me otherwise. She repeated, almost with satisfaction, "It's not entirely false. You do whatever I ask." Something in me broke. All those years of bending, shrinking, and swallowing my own needs. For what? To be told I was nothing more than a tool in her hands? I didn't shout. I didn't make a scene. I let the anger settle into a cold, clear resolve. I stood, walked to the closet, and pulled down a suitcase. I set it in front of her and said, plain and final, "Pack. You're leaving." She stared like I'd lost my mind. "What are you doing?" "You can't be serious," she said, half laughing. She tried to turn it into a bargaining session. Guilt, nostalgia, reminders of shared bills and memories. But the more she spoke, the more I saw past a memory of who I'd loved into the person she'd been showing me that night. Calculating, proud of having someone in her pocket. She argued, tried to make me feel guilty, attempted to charm and to shame. None of it worked. I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Myself. The man who had habitually given in was gone. I watched her fold clothes into the suitcase in silence. Each zipper and thud felt like a small unfastening of a weight I'd been carrying. She kept talking, trying one last manipulation, and I listened, calm and unshakable. When she finally stood and walked out the door, there was no cataclysm, only a quiet, almost surprising relief. That night, alone in my living room, I realized what I'd reclaimed. Love, I understood then, isn't about power or leverage. It doesn't come with strings you pull to make someone compliant. Real partnership is mutual, respect, trust, reciprocity. What I believed was love had been a pattern of control disguised as affection. Letting her go wasn't just ending a marriage. It was reclaiming my dignity. People ask if I rue that decision, if I regret the suddenness of how it ended. I don't. The pain of that choice was temporary. The weight lifted afterward felt permanent in a good way. The silence in a home without manipulation is cleaner and kinder than the constant noise of a relationship built on control. If you ever hear someone boast about how they keep their partner, or you feel intimacy being used as a bargaining chip, don't ignore that feeling in your chest. You don't have to stay. You don't owe anyone your peace. Choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish. Sometimes it's the bravest thing you can do.